Oh, you mean recording like I am now?
You rat bastard.
I've never seen a man struggle with an oscillating fan as much as I have with Matt. And everybody, welcome back to Recall Drive-In. As always, I'm Jake.
Hi guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's me, Matt.
And Matt is trying. He just can't get the grasp of that fan that I have in this room.
You. Anyway, I had to get up, do it properly, not from sitting down. So anyway, what are we doing today, Jake? What the fuck are we doing?
Man, we just watched 1991's The Silence of the Lambs.
Oh
And
boy.
I have never heard Matt so quiet in my entire fucking life.
It's a eclipse almost. You had to just stare in wonderment.
Yeah, it was nuts. So hope everybody's doing all right out there. We have decided that we're basically going to be doing these once a month from now on. Between my health problems and how I feel all the time, I just can't keep up with the every like week to 2 weeks we were doing.
Yeah.
But once a month seems to be a good spot for me. So we'll be doing it that way from now on, which is fine because it gives me time to think on movies and stuff like that and what we should do. I already got next week's picked out. Not next week, but next month's picked out.
Yeah.
He thinks it's going to be one thing, but it's really going to be something else. So
Yeah,
I got to throw the boy curveballs. It's the only way it's going to work.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Instead of me always picking the movies, or until I find something that he hasn't seen, which is gonna be just an entire movie in and of itself. Trying to find that.
Oh, hey man, I grew up watching a lot of fucking movies.
Yeah, you grew up and you found trauma somehow, which I didn't even know was a thing. Until...
Yeah, I grew up watching trauma movies, dude. So I randomly picked Silence of the Lambs. Not so much random, but we got the big list.
So yeah, but also watching this finally, I can see how everyone pretty much copies this. With like some of the dialogue, some of the settings,
yeah,
the character interactions, especially the ending.
Yeah, I figured that seeing this would actually click some things in for you.
But it's
pop
still
culture.
fucking amazing.
Exactly, because a lot of pop culture pulls from Silence of the Lambs for stuff.
Which isn't funny because while I was watching it, I was thinking of this one scene that I wanted to bring up while we were watching it, but I decided not to because it would make much better for the show.
Oh yeah.
So when Clarice goes and sees wait, should we wait till after you do the synopsis?
Oh, you mean that synopsis that we always read?
Yeah, read it, Jake.
All right. So Silence of the Lambs is a 1991 American psychological horror thriller film directed by Jonathan Demme. I assume it's pronounced Demme. And written by Ted Talley, adapted from Thomas Harris's 1988 novel of the same name. It stars Jodie Foster as Clarice Starling, a young FBI trainee who is hunting a serial killer named Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill.
Who skins his female victims. To catch him, she seeks the advice of the imprisoned Dr. Hannibal Lecter, a brilliant psychiatrist and cannibalistic serial killer. The film also features performances from Scott Glenn, Anthony Heald, and Casey Simmons. Yeah, so I want to say I was about 6 when this came out. You were about -4. I didn't see this when I was a kid.
Obviously,
I didn't. Yeah, like I grew up. It was a wild west with my generation growing up because
back when you could actually sneak into movies.
We could sneak into movies, and we grew up watching rated R movies that eventually got turned into children's cartoons.
Dude, how they turned RoboCop into 2 different cartoons.
I have no fucking idea.
Then again, I found out recently that pretty much every 80s movie, up until maybe early 90s, got turned into an animated series. There was Beetlejuice, RoboCop, Back to the Future.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that got turned into cartoons. Not just rated R movies, but a ton.
And Ghostbusters, don't forget.
Ghostbusters. You can't forget Ghostbusters. That's like the pivotal one because they have the real Ghostbusters and then the extreme Ghostbusters. But we digress.
Yeah. I'm surprised Hannibal didn't get a cartoon show where he's the wacky neighbor.
No shit, right? But of course, I didn't see this when I was 6. I didn't see this until I want to say I was in 8th grade or freshman year of high school. It was one of the two. Mm-hmm. I didn't see it until a little bit later. That was when I really started getting into true crime and horror movies and shit like that. And so, of course, I grew up in a pretty sheltered house. My dad was pretty damn religious growing up. I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of stuff. But thankfully, my brother... I was basically raised by my brother.
Cats in the cradle and the silver spoons.
I mean, it's not really that kind of situation.
Okay.
Like, I don't really care. But I was raised by my brother, so, we were always watching movies or him taking me out of school to go see, like, the South Park movie and, crazy shit like that. So I was able to at least sneak see some movies, and this was definitely one of them. Had a huge way on how I judge horror movies and how I approach them going forward. Because, like, you know me, I've said it multiple times on the show. I fucking hate modern day horror movies.
Yeah.
Um,
Like how they turned Winnie the Pooh into a horror movie just because they have the rights now, or it's public domain.
yeah, and like
And somehow we made a sequel recently.
they did make a sequel, and I haven't seen those yet.
I haven't either. It looks stupid.
So maybe we may have to watch those.
I don't know. We'll just see.
I actually would like to see them because I can appreciate that it's a joke. That's
Yeah.
literally what it is. It's a joke.
And also, I think that whole studio is also making a joke out of the Avengers because I think they have a plan to do a bunch of horror versions of fairy tales and turn them into the Avengers.
That's stupid.
No, but like horror Avengers, you mean?
Oh, okay. I mean, I'll watch it. Like I said, I grew up watching trauma shit. I can appreciate the joke.
I still need to find that like C movie that I saw a few months ago where it's Sasquatch versus Wendigo.
That sounds ridiculous.
But doesn't it sound?
It does sound kind of cool though. We'll have to find it.
Yeah,
So
that's the kind of shit I'm into.
yeah. See, you're into like ridiculous shit that is Mystery Science Theater without you really even knowing it. You know, so.
But then again, I did love this movie. The suspense was amazing.
Yes. Back on track to the movie.
Yeah.
I have never heard you so quiet watching a movie. Like you were in it. And I'm talking like within the first 5 minutes.
Dude, the first 20 minutes of the movie was fucking...
Yeah, at one point we hit like a pivotal part and I paused it. And I was like, Matt, we are only 20 minutes in this movie. And he's like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And I was just like, I need to get a drink.
Yeah. So I could tell that you were enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
It
I
plays
love a good mystery.
it plays with your head. It's absolutely a good mystery. What stuck out most for you?
How little, but yet how impactful Hannibal was actually in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not... Because, I don't know why, but I always thought that he was, like, actually running around after the first time he met Clarice.
Yeah.
And she was having to hunt both of them down.
Oh, okay. So that's what you
I
thought
thought-
over the years, like just soaking stuff up from pop culture and shit.
Yeah, like, and, like, little clips I would see on YouTube of, like...
Right.
I guess maybe you said, like, in one of the movies, Hannibal has a dude in the corner while he's on the phone, and he has a dude's brains open up.
Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll watch that eventually.
So, like, I always thought that was Silence of the Lambs before I knew that there was apparently a trilogy.
Yes, it is a trilogy. It's written by Tom Sayers.
Uh-huh.
And so you have Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, and then Hannibal.
I swear to God, Red Dragon sounds like a kung fu movie.
It really does, right? And the thing is with Red Dragon was they made a movie of that in the 80s or late 70s, I think, and it was called Manhunter.
Really?
And yeah, and the guy who is Yondu, I can't remember his fucking name offhand.
I know he works with James Gunn a lot.
He was basically Hannibal.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, the movies, that franchise like has history. I've read a couple of the books. I don't think I've read them all. I know I have read Red Dragon.
Uh-huh.
I got halfway through Silence of the Lambs, I think, and they're great books. They're fantastic murder mystery kind of books and shit, psychological thrillers. And like I've said before, earlier, this is the movie that's like the blueprint for me when it comes to this kind of thing, because like modern day horror movies is very much here's the plot. We're going to give everything away in the trailer, and then you're going to go see it,
and you're going to give the characters no characters. They're just there to be body count.
Exactly, and they're fucking boring.
Yeah,
especially when it's a movie that's they show you the trailer, all that stuff, and they put themselves. To me, a lot of these movies they make themselves out to be, like thrillers, psychological horror movies. None of them are. They're all shit slashers, and they're not even good slashers.
Dude, like this one movie, I know you've never seen it, and I don't want to see it either. It's called The Bye Bye Man. Where it's like they're trying to do like the Candyman kind of thing, with like you don't say his name, don't say it, don't think it, or else he'll come and kill you, and you have to kill anyone. But then like the trailer gives all that away, but then the trailer has shots that aren't in the movie at all.
Yeah,
I hear Ouija's pretty good. The second one,
I haven't seen those. The closest thing to like Ouija, I guess I've seen is stuff like Paranormal Activity, and I don't really enjoy those. The first one was good, but after that, forget it.
Yeah, it's like the first one had a good hook, good plot ish. It's just like, oh, okay, it's normal people. And then we go into a whole convoluted, like storyline and plots and all that bullshit.
So, what did you think now that you've seen it? Being that you thought it was one way, you thought she was chasing after both of them. But it turns out. She's a student FBI agent.
I didn't even think she'd be a student. I thought she was just like a detective.
Not. Yeah, she's not an FBI agent. She's a student sent there by her boss, to get more info because she's like a little bit less in the know. It's less obvious.
Well, he sends her to be like, "Hey, go check up on him." But really, he's just like, "Oh, maybe I can get Hannibal." He's trying to out a Fox Hannibal.
He was trying to out Chilton, because Chilton was a fucking asshole. I hate that dude.
That son of a bitch right from the get go. The way he enters a room, I'm like, that dude sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and it turns out that she's actually trying to get help from him
About this case that they're on.
So and at the same time, she's learning to be an FBI agent from a fucking serial killer. Yeah. So it's absolutely batshit crazy.
And it's also fascinating to me how, even though he is the bad guy, how cool he was.
He's super smooth. He's very chill and
in control of everything.
Very much in control of everything.
And not really like angry. He's just like fascinated by the world around him.
Yeah, and like his demeanor, everything is super focused. Well, it's scary how they play up his intelligence.
And you know what's
how he can smell her from the other side of the glass, and he can name what kind of lotion and stuff she's using. Like shit like that.
But you didn't use this lotion today.
But today, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shit like that, and like I'm sitting there watching it, and I haven't seen it in maybe a year or two, and I'm just like, man, this movie is solid.
But
it does not get old.
But you know what? Actually, seeing this movie, like the whole like Hannibal scene where he's anytime they go and interview him, that scene alone had so much impact apparently on DC in general, because I could think of like 100 different times when they use that kind of framing and shot in the comics whenever Batman has to go talk to Joker or the Calendar Man, like in Long Halloween.
Exactly, yeah. They use that type of scenes, like either his close up on the face or him just standing in the cell.
Yeah, behind like this and it's bulletproof glass.
It's the exact same fucking thing as Hannibal standing in his cell.
Yeah, it's like, hello, Batman. Never raising his voice or anything.
Yeah.
And just like, if you want to catch the killer, just let me out.
Yeah.
And I'll stop the killing.
Exactly. And then it's like, oh, hey, you're just ripping off Silence of the Lambs at that point. But that just tells you how much of an impact this fucking movie made on things.
Even the scene where she's first meeting Hannibal, walking down the hall, and you say, stay to the right.
Yeah.
And she passes by and she sees the other people in the cell. That shot alone has been copied by a shit ton of other people.
Yeah, when Miggs is jumping on the thing, the first thing you said, oh, hey, Zaz.
Yeah, hi, Zaz. I can smell you.
Yeah, that's cool. You don't got to say it. But yeah, that's it pretty much, that's pretty much how it is. But then you be having never seen it, of course, because that's the whole premise of this podcast. Now you know what it actually is in the story and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's cool because I was watching you as you're watching this, and it's like, I can definitely see the gears turning. You're thinking, you're watching it, you're paying attention. And that's a big thing because I know we're only a couple years apart, but that's something that generation completely lacks is a attention span.
It doesn't also help that I have ADD, but that's a topic for another day.
But that's what I'm saying. This movie held you for 2 hours.
I was just over there putting the pieces together. I'm just like, what the fuck? What's next? Yeah. Oh shit! What's Hannibal?
And that's the thing. It's one thing after another. This movie has such great pacing and it builds. Man, that. Oof.
Okay, now I get why. Now I get when Jason Mewes does it. Just holy shit.
And it's hilarious when he does it.
Yeah,
but
that's when
when you watch the movie and you know what it's from and and like what's behind it, it's like, wow, that's pretty fucked. So, what do you think of the subject matter?
So, that she's hunting down the murderer. Everyone's an asshole except for Hannibal, basically, in this movie.
And that's the thing. Like, her bosses, Chilton, the guy who's running the asylum, all that stuff. The people in authority that are supposed to be watching and, like, helpful toward everything are really the ones just trying to stab you in the back because they want the credit so they can get advancement.
They're all the doctors from DC who are, like, trying to make their money off of, like, make their name and fortune off of curing the Joker. That's everyone except Clarice.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see the parallels and how they compare back and forth. Like it's you clearly see it like 20 minutes into the movie. It's like, oh, Hannibal is not out to hurt her.
No, he's super respectful. He's a gentleman.
Yeah,
it's just he has a very select taste palette.
Yeah, he's like, you were very. What's he tell you? You were very kind and polite, receptive to courtesy, and like all this stuff. And it's like, oh man, okay. So, like, within the first 20 minutes of watching this, you kind of understand where he's coming from. He's, yes, he's a mass murdering cannibal, but damn it, manners maketh man.
But so funny. Like, and then when he's like trying to, and they tell you right away, don't give Cannibal anything. Don't give him anything about you.
Yeah.
No details. You don't want someone like Hannibal in your head.
Yeah.
But she tells him, and he's just super cool about it.
She tells him, and he's it turns out that the people on the outside holding him captive think of him in a different way.
They kind of think of him as just like a stupid monster,
and he's
an
not.
animal.
The problem is he's a very controlled monster.
Yeah.
And he he very much does not use the information that she gives him against her. And it's just a very interesting dynamic to see, because it does continue in Hannibal.
Yeah. Wait, it does?
Yes.
I thought you meant the rest of the movie, but no.
No, the movie Hannibal.
Okay.
Yeah, it does continue in Hannibal. Now, the movie Hannibal, I'll tell you without giving a ton away, it's a little bit more traditional horror.
Okay. Him running around.
Not so much like him running around. It's still psychological thriller and all, but it's still a little. To me, it's got a little pinch of slasher in there.
So it's almost like the Aliens to Alien.
A little bit, but it's still really good. I personally,
because like in this one, the horror is like kind of super subtle.
Yeah.
Of like, you only see depictions of what Buffalo Bill did to his victims.
Yeah.
And just the details of them describing it is actually makes you think way worse of like you're picturing what they're looking at while they're not showing it to you.
Exactly. And I guess that's kind of why I like this movie so much is, that you're talking about like the stuff they're showing and stuff. It's not a slasher movie in that the kills are there just to be a kill. Mm-hmm. This is a movie that's very rooted in realism. So it's very much, the FBI are going after a serial killer.
Mm-hmm. And they're trying to pick up any clues that they can get.
Exactly. It's very much, topic A has to happen so that B can happen so we can get to C. Everything is there for a reason.
It is them following a case.
It's them following a case, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's probably why, for me, this kind of movie is the blueprint of what horror should be in general. Because I feel like Matt hasn't seen it, but it's on the list. We're going to be watching 7 sometime down the road. Mm-hmm. 7 to me lives up to this. 7 is a lot grittier. It's a lot bloodier too. It's more graphic, way more graphic. But it holds up. I feel like it.
I think we should eat a salad that day.
Have a nice, cool salad that day. Yeah, we were eating. What we usually do for these recordings is Matt comes over, he'll bring some food, and we'll eat, chill out, and watch the movie. But I was about to start the movie, and he was like, "We're gonna do this while we're eating." I'm like, "Oh, you're one of those."
Well, I thought because before this, I thought it was when we got to see Cannibal actually eat people in this.
No, it's not.
I didn't know that. So.
It's not insane. That's another thing with this movie. It's not insanely gory either. What they do show you is like crime scene photos, things that have already happened. There's not so much like. Not
like a Friday the 13th.
They're not like Hellraiser, where it's like, "Oh, we're gonna show everything, people being torn apart." Yeah, shit like that. It's not like that. Everything is very, very much choreographed and set up in such a way that these things have happened. Here are the case photos. It's an awful thing that's happened.
Here's the description of it.
Here's the description. Now we got to check out the body.
Like especially
they're doing the autopsy, stuff like that.
Especially that autopsy. They mentioned two diamond patterns on the lower back and on the top shoulders.
Yeah.
And then they don't pay that off until like the third act of the movie. Yeah,
and it's really cool how they set everything up and how Clarice finds her clues. Mm-hmm. And it really shows character progression and how she's growing as a agent, even though she's still a student.
And then she finally learned to watch those corners.
She learned to watch those fucking corners. So, for me, the pros in this movie, the acting in this movie is top notch above everything else. Holy shit, is Anthony Hopkins' performance insane in this fucking movie?
He carries this fucking movie. He's only in it for like, I guess maybe half of it? Technically, if you want to think about it?
Yeah, if you want to get technical, like he's maybe in like a half hour, I would think.
Yeah.
Altogether. He carries the entire movie.
But every moment he's in, every second is just fantastic.
The way he carries himself, his lines, his delivery of those lines, like real flat.
Hell, even when he's talking to the fucking, what was it, the governor or the mayor?
I think it was like a senator.
Yeah, senator whose daughter got kidnapped.
Oh my god.
He was just so in control. Tell me, did you breastfeed her?
It's like,
You sick son of a
Shit. Yeah,
like,
it's like, what the hell is going through his head?
and everyone's just like, you sick son of a bitch. He's just like, yes.
But in doing so, you're like, man, he's just evaluating everybody here. Like, it's fucking crazy. But the attention to detail in writing combined with all of that, how he was able, everybody in this movie was able to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Her boss, honestly comes off as a boss. Like, he's just an asshole.
He's an asshole who
wants to take credit.
Yeah.
Chilton is that guy who runs the asylum.
He's like the bad Dr. Loomis from Halloween. Instead of wanting to cure him like Dr. Loomis did, this motherfucker just wanted to make a tell-all book about him.
Basically, and he wants the credit. Like, to me, Chilton strikes me as somebody who wanted to be like a famous FBI agent or something and failed at it. And so this is how he has to do it.
Or it was too hard for him. He's just like, I just want to make my money doing something easy.
Yeah.
Especially the fact when he was listening in to Clarice and when he was interviewing her.
It turns out he was listening on her. He had bugged the room and he was listening to her. And then he turned around and gave that info to the FBI and shit. And that fucked everything up. And then the dumb shit went and left his pin in Hannibal's room.
even though he was the one who said, don't hand him any pins, paper clips, staples, nothing. And that dumbass broke his own rules.
He did. And then later on, they follow up with it. And, he's going to sign a document and he's checking his
pockets, just like
jacket pockets, and there's no pin there.
And the officer's just like, take my pin.
Yeah. And it's just like, done
and they zoom in on Lecter just sitting there just yeah.
They zoom in on Hannibal and you can hear him breathing out like real deep and shit. Yeah.
Such a good movie.
How do you like that pacing of this movie?
So good, actually. There were some parts where I thought it was gonna drag, but then again, she's finding clues.
Yeah. Which
lead back to going to Hannibal.
Yeah, every part of this movie that you think is a lull or it's getting boring, well, it's actually her gathering clues. Things get super fucking interesting. When he tells her, go find yourself, look deep within yourself, and he tells her the address, all this stuff. There's a, storage shed, all this shit. She goes there, she's like, oh, well, I thought, he told me something. I read deeper into it, and it turns out there is a place called Your Self Storage, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's
double meaning everything.
It's a double meaning, and he does a lot of that. But at the same time, it shows her character progression, and she's able to put those clues together.
It's like she's dealing with an actually cool Riddler.
that eats people.
Yeah, because the Riddler fucking sucks.
Yeah, but the pacing is great. Did you feel like it was even 2 hours?
I thought it was an hour and a half. Almost.
That was a 2-hour fucking movie.
Jesus.
Yeah. And we paused it a couple times, to get up and stuff. But that was a 2-hour movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
It didn't really feel like it, especially near the end when I thought they were going to be the big raid. Yeah. But it turns out it was a 180.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about the ending. The ending is apeshit. How she finds out with her clues, basically who Buffalo Bill is.
Yeah. It was almost by accident.
Yeah. She starts talking to the boss, and the boss is on a plane already heading somewhere.
Yeah, he's on a fucking military plane. They're about to raid the motherfucker. Yeah. But they're just like, just go get some evidence to link it back to him, whatever.
So she ends up going to the house of someone that the girls that he had abducted and everything were working for. Mm-hmm. They get to the house, he answers the door, and she's like, oh, well, is so-and-so here? And he's like, oh, well, she hasn't lived here for a while. I bought this house 2 years ago. He's just feeding her bullshit. Uh-huh. And then I think I have his the guy, her son's car. I think it's here somewhere. And then she sees the moth. And it's like, fuck, because that's such a rare moth, it shouldn't be here.
Yeah. Which they did say in the clues
they do come from Asia.
And they did say that the plane that the guy picked up from the plane.
They stopped him in customs for the things.
For the eggs.
For the eggs. So, of course, pieces are being put together, but the editing is top notch because they keep cutting back and forth, and you think she's already in the house. But it turns out that her boss and them, they're at the wrong fucking house. Yeah. So of course, she finds out who it is, and then we're taken on this insanely slow but wild fucking ride.
Because you don't know where the fuck this dude went.
Exactly. And
he could be around any corner.
And then he ends up turning the lights off, and he has the night vision goggles.
Because they did show earlier in the movie he had night vision goggles.
He had night vision goggles, and he was scoping out a victim. Yes.
So... And also, word of warning to anyone, don't help anybody at night.
Hey, man, if somebody's got a cast on trying to heave a couch into a van, don't help them. But if you're going to help them, don't go into the van first.
Yeah,
that's them going to the van.
Yeah, dumbass. And also, at night, no one's around. Just don't help.
That was nuts, man. Like,
Oh, can you go into the van and push it?
oh, it's fine.
Yeah,
and then he
fine.
tells you, you were a size 14? Oh, shit. Yeah.
Whap!
And he had on the cast. He just beats her with the cast. But yeah, that end scene is wild because, they're in the dark, and then eventually you hear the night vision turn on, and he's just watching her stumble.
And he's watching for a while.
This movie takes its fucking time.
And the second the night vision goes on, I'm just clenching like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, Matt was pretty much clenched like the last half hour of this movie. It was nuts.
Because he's playing her like a fucking harp, but he's so overconfident. Like he's literally put his hand right behind her.
Yeah.
Just like maybe a couple inches kind of away from her, like
he's almost touching her hair. He's like an inch away from caressing her face. Like he is toying with her.
But then but
like you said, being insanely overly confident.
Yeah.
Then the dumb shit cocks his gun. She hears it and immediately turns around and just unloads on his ass.
Right in the 5 ring.
Gets him right in the 5 ring. Yep. So it's a wild ride. Like it's a 2-hour build up to like maybe like a 15-minute sequence of her dealing with Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
And all of everything. Maybe
even 5 minutes.
Maybe even 5. I don't know. It was just even I was super into it. I hadn't seen it in a while.
But dude, Hannibal's like escape in the movie.
His escape is
nuts.
So well done.
Yeah.
Him swapping faces with a cop. It's
just fucking nuts. And then he leaves the other cop in like the butterfly, like spread out
with his guts hanging out. Like
it's like god damn.
It's done in such a spectacle, and you're like, how the fuck did he do this? Like,
and again, him in that like the center jail cell has had his whole influence on other media of like them having to talk to the dude. He's in the center of the prison yard in the cell.
Oh yeah, they always do stuff like movies now copy Silence of the Lambs for fucking everything.
Yeah,
and I know there's an entire generation
but you know who else?
People who've never seen this that just go, oh, it's just a funny skit thing, but no, there's no.
It's tense as hell when it's done right.
Mm-hmm.
But you know who else took influence from this? The Power Rangers.
Did they really?
Yeah, there was a season of Power Rangers SPD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're hunting down this space criminal, and they send one of their dudes in to interrogate this guy, whose power is he could pass through reflective objects and like kind of like Mirror Master, right?
Okay. So
they send him in, they cover up everything, and the dude tells him, "I'll help you with your case only if you give me something for my collection. My collection is I love sad stories."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that whole thing was when Hannibal is talking to Clarice.
Quid pro quo, Clarice.
Yeah,
you tell me things, I tell you things.
Yeah, yep. And it's like nuts how they do that in Power Rangers, but in Power Rangers, he's only doing it to make the dude cry.
Yeah. So
that way he could escape through the reflective tear.
To do that, for me, the biggest influence that I can remember is they do that in Austin Powers as well.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole section with Austin Powers and Dr. Evil.
Goldmember.
He's like quid pro quo, and he's like, yeah, squid pro ro. Like it's so stupid. But this movie made its ripples in the world, and it is everywhere in pop culture.
And it's fucking good, dude.
It's hilarious, and the critic as well. It's all the old 90s.
Oh, and also the ending. How many movies and TV shows and thrillers have ripped off that ending?
Oh yeah, like Hannibal's like walking off into the
in the suit.
Yeah,
and just walking off.
Everybody's ripped this movie off, but it's such a great movie. Like aside from the subject matter, which of course a lot of people aren't into true crime. I'm into true crime and all that kind of shit.
It's making a comeback. There are a lot of true crime podcasts out there.
It's huge. There's a lot of true crime podcasts out there. Of course, I'm actually losing interest and favor in a lot of those podcasts.
Really?
Yeah, because at this point they're just money grabs. They're not really
interested in the subject.
Yeah, they're not truly interested in the subject. It's just a money grab, and they have other people researching, and then the personalities are just reading it out. It's not genuine like it used to be.
Yeah, it's gotta be. You gotta find the right personalities to counterbalance everything.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of those personalities are on YouTube now, and they're making genuine long-form videos about true crime. There's a lot of good stuff on there now. But yeah, this movie is absolutely nuts. How do you feel it holds up against modern-day horror and suspense, though?
Oh, I think it trounces a lot of modern horror. Mm-hmm. Like, it just wipes its ass with modern-day slashers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I don't like modern-day slashers.
Because it's not really horrific as in, like
horror in general, really.
It's not really horrific as, like, oh my god, they're just ripping my guts out. Oh my god. It's more like, oh shit, what's this guy gonna do? Am I screwed just for being in the same room?
Yeah, or it's like, is he gonna get out? Because he's clearly intelligent enough to break out of this place.
Oh yeah.
Like, what are we
He
doing?
could smell what fucking lotion I used yesterday.
Yeah.
He could dissect my ass in 10 seconds.
He was whispering to Miggs in the next cell all night, and they found him in the morning dead. He had swallowed his own tongue.
Which shouldn't be physically possible.
What the fuck? Unless, like, you're having a seizure. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the only way, because your body's kind of just...
you would think, right? Like, I don't know the science behind any of that, but it's like, wow. They said he was whispering to Miggs all night, and you could hear him crying in the next cell, and he swallowed his own tongue. And it was like, okay, Hannibal's in the next cell. What the fuck is he doing? But yeah, it's a wild fucking movie. It's very much, for me, the blueprint for these types of movies. Nobody has been able to top it since, in my opinion. Except for 7. But 7 to me doesn't top it. 7 is right there.
It's like
to
honoring
me,
it almost.
Yeah, to me it's tied. It's right up there. Damn, 7 is fantastic. We may just have to watch 7 next, because I really want to watch 7. But we'll see. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we'll see. If you even remember that next time.
Oh, I'll remember.
I just rant some shit about X-Men.
Yeah. Isn't X-Men 97 amazing?
Fucking sick, man.
It's so good. I cannot get over it.
The name's Gambit. Remember.
Oh, don't make me relive it. All right, we're going off the rails.
Yeah.
That show is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So, I cannot believe how good X-Men 97 is. Hey, fuck it. This pertains. This is talking about good writing.
Yeah, good writing. Dude, they even brought just them bringing Nightcrawler in.
Now he's a permanent member.
Yeah, permanent. Although what we had to lose in order to get him a spot on.
Died a goddamn hero.
Yeah.
But
he died a cold son of a bitch.
He died a hero. But no,
raised the bet, man.
But just real quick though, I can't believe how good X-Men 97 is. They have Disney at the same time has redeemed themselves and fucked themselves royally. Because I'm expecting high quality shit now, period, from them as far as Marvel. But we all know Thunderbolts is gonna flop. Anything that comes out new that is not related to Deadpool, X-Men, Fantastic Four, or
hopefully this really.
I'm missing one. I'm missing one. Fantastic Four, or X-Men, I guess, is gonna flop.
Yeah, well,
because we're tired.
Well, yeah. Hopefully that this they actually stopped everything for a little bit, because they're like, okay, what are we getting wrong? Why aren't we getting everyone like we used to?
Yeah, exactly. And
because I know they canceled Ironheart as like a series, and they also canceled Armored War.
Yeah.
So hopefully that means that they're done just like.
And Deadpool's the only Marvel movie coming out this year.
Yeah.
So hopefully they learned. Scale back, less is more. I would rather have quality over quantity. And they're clearly giving me that with X-Men 97 right now. Holy balls, that show is good. I'm just happy that Disney was like, well, the demographic was kids when they saw it. They're in their fucking 30s now. Age them up. And
they're also like, everyone really likes the X-Men. We have the X-Men now. Let's go crazy.
It's time. Like, just it's time to go nuts and catch them up.
They're over there with like the nuclear code keys, just like, turn your keys, sir.
No shit, right? Oh man, that's a great show, and it's a great fucking movie, Matt.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this movie?
Fuck yes.
It's not even a question. I know. Yeah. I mean, I know it's here on the page for me to ask, but it's not even.
I recommend this, especially if you love thrilling movies, if you love horror movies, if you love a good mystery. It's great.
If you love Anthony Hopkins.
Who doesn't love Anthony Hopkins?
Everybody loves Anthony Hopkins.
He's fucking Odin, dude.
Right, that's the Allfather, damn it.
He was the best parts of those movies.
He was awesome as the Allfather. He was really cool. And as far as cons on this list, there aren't any. I have none.
I guess just everyone's an asshole except for the fucking literal cannibal.
You gotta look out for yourself. And even sometimes the cannibal, he'll help you.
He'll help you.
He might eat you, but...
Yeah.
So what did we learn today, Matt?
Always be nice to the crazies. Be respectful to everybody, because that's what saved her ass.
It is. That's seriously what saved her ass. Is she was courteous and she was polite.
Be polite. Be kind to your fellow man and or woman man.
Yep.
And psychopaths.
You know what I learned?
What?
Always check your fucking corners.
Check your corners. And like I said, don't help anybody at night. Don't do it.
Just don't. Or if you do, don't go in first in the van. I cannot fucking believe that. Like, I get it. It's for a movie and shit. And people are stupid these days. They would totally do that. But it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. But anyway, on that note, everybody. It's getting hot in this room. Let's go ahead. But man, yeah, that movie's nuts, man.
Until next time, peoples.
Until next time, everybody.
Bye.
Later. Man, shit, X-Men is so great.
And I'm pretty sure you're right. They're setting up X-Men versus the Avengers.
I'm telling you.